Ethan used to say it like a fact, not a wish. I need to earn more. He'd repeat it in the shower, in traffic, and right before opening his banking app, like the phrase could become a plan. On paper, he wasn't failing. Bills were paid, the fridge wasn't empty, and he even had a little savings, just enough to feel responsible, not enough to feel safe. The gap between fine and secure kept buzzing in his chest. Ethan didn't dream of mansions. He dreamed of breathing differently. He wanted to open his calendar without calculating how many shifts it would take to afford the month. The weird part was that his income had grown, not dramatically, but steadily. Raises, small bonuses, great work this quarter, money that came and went. Yet the anxiety stayed like a ringtone you can't find. One Tuesday, he got an email from HR. Another raise. He felt the first spark of relief, the kind that lasts about 5 seconds. Then his brain immediately asked, so what now? That question bothered him more than the raise excited him. If more money was the answer, why did the answer never stick? Why did it always evaporate into normal life? That night, Ethan wrote a new question at the top of a note. Why do I need to earn more? It felt almost rude, like he was challenging a belief he'd carried for years. At first, the answers came out vague. Security, comfort, freedom. Nice words, but slippery. They sounded like goals until he tried to measure them, and then they turned into fog. So he made it concrete. He wrote down what he thought more income would fix. Fewer arguments with his partner, fewer sleepless Sundays, fewer moments of panic when the car made a new noise. Ethan noticed something uncomfortable. Most of his list wasn't about buying new things. It was about stopping bad feelings. He wasn't chasing a luxury life, he was chasing relief. That's when he realized the slogan "Earn More" was hiding different motives. Some were healthy, some were expensive, some were invisible until you named them. He drew 4 boxes on a page: survival, stability, freedom, and status. Then he forced himself to pick which one he was actually in, not which one sounded best.
Survival was simple. You can't cover basics. Rent, food, utilities, your life is a constant math problem. In survival, earn more isn't ambition, it's oxygen. Stability was trickier. You can pay for life, but one bad month could break you. A medical bill, a layoff, a family emergency. Your finances are balanced on a thin edge. Freedom was different. You want the power to say no. No to a toxic job, no to overtime, no to a city you've outgrown. Freedom is money's quiet superpower. Status was the loud one. You want your life to look like success, not always for strangers, sometimes for family, friends, exes, or the younger version of yourself that needed proof. Ethan stared at the boxes and felt his stomach tighten. He wasn't in survival. He was half in stability, half in status, with a strong craving for freedom he couldn't yet afford. That mix explained why raises didn't calm him. Stability wants a buffer. Status wants upgrades. If you feed status first, stability never arrives, and freedom stays a fantasy. He remembered his last raise. He'd celebrated by upgrading small things: better takeout, a nicer gym, subscriptions he barely used. Nothing extreme, just 1,000 tiny yeses. Each yes felt harmless because it arrived monthly. $40 here, $90 there, a slightly higher car payment that felt manageable. Annual salary feels huge, monthly spending feels soft. Ethan wrote another line: I experience money monthly, not yearly. That sentence alone explained how people get richer on paper and poorer in reality. Then he asked a sharper question. If I earned 20% more next year, what exactly would change? He didn't allow himself to answer with vibes, he demanded outcomes. The first honest outcome was boring. He wanted a larger emergency fund, not to feel impressive, to stop flinching at random expenses and to sleep like a normal person. The second outcome was emotional. He wanted to stop negotiating with himself at the grocery store. He was tired of treating basic comfort like a moral test. The third outcome was strategic. He wanted runway, months of life stored in numbers, the ability to lose a job and not lose himself. That word, runway, hit him hard. He'd been chasing salary like it was safety, but safety isn't what you earn.
Safety is what happens if you stop earning. So he calculated it. Fixed costs first. Rent, insurance, minimum debt payments, utilities, groceries, the stuff that arrives no matter how motivated you feel. The numbers surprised him because it wasn't dramatic, it was relentless. It wasn't a big purchase. It was the quiet monthly drain that demanded loyalty. Then he looked at his savings and translated them into months, not dollars, months. His account balance suddenly became a calendar, and the calendar was shorter than he wanted to admit. Ethan finally understood his stress. He didn't need more income to feel rich. He needed more months between him and disaster. That's when the main question changed shape. Why do you need to earn more became how many months of freedom are you trying to buy? Because months are honest, titles aren't. A job title can vanish in one meeting. Runway can't be fired, it can only be spent. Ethan wrote a target that wasn't a salary. 6 months runway. It felt smaller than $200,000 and somehow bigger at the same time. Then he made a rule that felt almost childish. The raise doesn't change his lifestyle for 90 days. No upgrades, no deserved purchases, no new monthly commitments. He called it the lag rule. Let income rise first, let the dust settle, and only then decide what to do with the difference. The pause was the point. The first week was weird. He kept noticing things he could upgrade. His brain treated every small desire like a bill that needed to be paid immediately. Ethan realized desire wasn't the problem. Automatic agreement was. The danger wasn't wanting more. The danger was saying yes without asking what the yes costs. So he borrowed a trick from his own anxiety. Conversion. He converted purchases into after-tax work hours. Money is abstract. Time is visceral. The sneakers he wanted weren't only $180, they were 5 hours of his life. Suddenly, the purchase wasn't a treat, it was a trade. Ethan wasn't trying to become cheap, he was trying to become deliberate. Deliberate spending feels good because it's aligned. Automatic spending feels good for 10 minutes. Around day 12, he noticed a new sensation: space. Not in his schedule, but in his mind. The moment he stopped auto-upgrading, his thoughts got quieter. That's when he understood a painful truth. Many people don't need to earn more. They need fewer fixed obligations. Obligations are the real cost of success. Fixed obligations are sneaky because they look like lifestyle, but they behave like debt. They demand payment whether you're happy, motivated, or even employed. Ethan wrote another line. If it shows up every month, it owns a piece of me. It sounded dramatic, but the math wasn't. This is where most people misunderstand earning more. They assume more income equals more freedom, but more income plus more obligations equals a faster treadmill. Ethan had been running that treadmill for years without naming it. He wasn't bad with money, he was just living in a system that converted raises into normal. So he built a system designed to do the opposite: convert raises into runway. He called it raise routing because every new dollar needed a destination before temptation found it. Route 1 was safety, emergency fund up to 6 months runway. Route 2 was growth, automatic investing. Route 3 was joy, guilt-free spending, but only after the first 2 were funded. The order mattered. Joy without safety becomes anxiety with nicer packaging. Ethan didn't want a prettier life that still felt fragile. He set transfers for the day after payday. Not when he remembered, not when he felt disciplined. He removed his personality from the plan. 2 months later, something surprising happened. The raise started to feel real. Not because his lifestyle changed, but because his stress decreased. He could feel security in his body. Ethan noticed he stopped checking his balance the way people check a wound. He checked it like a dashboard, informative, not terrifying. That was the difference Runway makes. But the world didn't stop trying to sell him reasons to earn more. Ads, podcasts, coworkers, even family. Everyone had a number he should be making by now. That pressure creates a specific kind of hunger, status hunger. It's not about comfort, it's about not being judged. It's the fear of being the only one who didn't make it. Ethan recognized the trap. Status has no finish line because comparison has no finish line. If you earn more for status, the goal moves the moment you reach it. So he made another test. When he wanted more, he had to finish the sentence. I need to earn more so that I can blank. If he couldn't fill the blank, it wasn't a goal. Sometimes the blank was legitimate, so I can fund my emergency runway. Sometimes it was honest but dangerous, so I can feel respected. The test didn't judge, it revealed. Next, Ethan faced the part people avoid, taxes. He realized he was dreaming in gross income but living in net income. The gap between the two was where many raises go to die. He started thinking in take-home pay. What mattered wasn't I got a $10,000 raise, what mattered was how much extra cash actually lands in my month. That shift alone stopped a lot of dumb decisions. A monthly upgrade looks tiny until you realize you're paying it with pre-tax labor. You don't spend net dollars, you spend life. Ethan began to see the raise illusion. A raise feels like a big leap, but lifestyle changes arrive in small monthly bites. Small bites can eat an entire future. To protect himself, he created a margin shield. The first slice of any income increase automatically widened his margin, not his lifestyle. He treated margin like a muscle that needed training. Margin is the space between you and panic. It's the room that makes you kinder, calmer, and less desperate. Ethan noticed he argued less once margin grew. Then came a real-life test. His company announced restructuring rumors. Old Ethan would have spiraled immediately. New Ethan checked his runway and felt something rare. A choice. He didn't want to lose the job, but he wasn't terrified of it anymore. That's what Runway buys. Not luxury, but dignity. The ability to handle uncertainty without breaking. Ethan realized that this was the true reason to earn more, to reduce dependence. More income is powerful only when it reduces the number of people and situations you can't say no to. That's why the question matters. If you earn more but your dependence grows, you didn't level up, you just increased your required monthly tribute. He wrote a simple rule for upgrades. No new fixed costs while building Runway. Not forever, just until his freedom foundation was real. Delayed gratification isn't punishment, it's construction. Ethan still allowed joy spending, but he forced it to be non-sticky. A one-time experience is easier to remove than a monthly bill. He wanted joy without shackles. Over time, he noticed a new confidence, not the loud confidence of showing off, but the quiet confidence of not needing to. His self-worth stopped riding his paycheck like a roller coaster. The irony was that earning more became easier once he stopped needing it for status. When you're not desperate, you negotiate better. You take smarter risks. You can walk away from bad deals. Ethan finally saw the full answer. You earn more to buy stability, runway, and freedom, measurable things. If the reason is vague, the spending becomes automatic, and automatic spending is how raises disappear. So if the thought, I need to earn more, is living in your head, don't argue with it. Ask it to be specific. Make it name the months of runway, the debts to erase, the freedom to purchase. Because the goal isn't a bigger number. The goal is a different nervous system. The goal is waking up and realizing a surprise expense is annoying, not life-threatening. Ethan stopped worshiping income and started worshiping margin. And once margin grew, income finally did what he always hoped it would do. It changed how he felt, not how he looked. That's the real question. Why do you need to earn more? Survival, stability, freedom, or status? Name it, measure it, and route your next raise so it buys the thing you actually want. If this changed how you think about more money, hit like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.